episode of Deck Hockey Focus, the only podcast dedicated to growing the game that we all love. Eric Mock here with my co-star Ryan Shackelford. We're going to continue our trend of bringing on some notable names from around the ball hockey community. And Shackelford, we're in for a treat tonight. We got some bigwigs.
That we do. We have Chris Banks and Alessandra Glista, who are executive members of the newly formed USA Ball Hockey Organization. Chris, Alessandra, how are you guys tonight?
Excellent.
Doing good. Yeah.
Appreciate
Perfect.
you guys joining us. Alessandra, we'll start with you since we were kind of reading through your resume there as far as your hockey career is concerned, and it's maybe a little bit too long for us to read off. We would keep people here all night, but give the people kind of an idea of maybe how you got your start, and then I know you've played it in some high-level tournaments and things like that, so kind of introduce yourself to the listeners.
Sure. So, Alessandra Glista. I've been playing ball hockey probably since I was a teenager. I started off playing soccer. I was a goalie, and my cousins, they loved to play street hockey in the street. So that's how I transitioned to goalie. In 2007, I had the opportunity to play with Team USA's ball hockey team, the inaugural women's team. We went to Germany. And since then, I've had a pretty special career. This will be my 10th World Championships. I've been to 7 senior games and 3 Masters games, and we've won 4 silver medals in that time. I'm also the co-founder of the United Women's Ball Hockey Foundation, and super excited to be a board member for USA Ball Hockey.
Well, fantastic. So, Chris, that's quite the resume to follow there. But give people kind of a look at sort of how you fall into the whole scheme of things.
Yeah, that's there's not many with the same resume that Alessandra has, unfortunately. Unfortunately for me, anyway. I am the president of USA Ball Hockey. I started, as a kid, like millions of other kids, playing hockey in the street. I did my time playing ice hockey, but I gravitated back over to ball hockey when I was in my late teens because it was and it still is a sport that is affordable for broke teenagers and broke guys in their 20s. Because when mom and dad stop paying for skates sharpened and they stop paying for league fees, there's nowhere to go. And who can afford $5,000 when you're 21 years old? So as soon as mom and dad are done doing all that, a lot of, particularly in Buffalo, a lot of people, a lot of guys gravitate over to ball hockey. And it's because it's something identifiable for them. And they played it in the street as kids and in the parks and backyards and whatnot. And then, and they went on to play whatever sport they played, whether it was ice hockey or football or whatever. But they always kind of seem to come back, or they do in good enough numbers anyway. So that was my story. I started playing, competitively, probably in my 20s. I'm a little older, but I'm 46. So when I played tournaments, like the tournament circuit now, at least in the Northeast, is it's very organized. It's organized very well. It's run by good tournament organizers. When I played tournaments, it was the Wild Wild West, and I would go to Detroit, and I would go to Toronto. I never went east. I didn't know anybody from the east until I was probably 30. But ball hockey was big in Detroit. We'd go to a couple of tournaments in Detroit, and we'd go to Southern Ontario because it's right around the corner from us, being from Buffalo.
Sure. So
when I was, I stopped playing tournament hockey when I was probably 34, 35. And then I played in the leagues until I was about 38, and then I got tired of getting hurt all the time, and then it ends, and then you just start. And I chose to stay with, I was always a player coach, even from a very young age. So I had organized many, many teams throughout the years. I built an organization with my partner called Buffalo Fusion, which still exists. We have roller hockey. There's a roller hockey division in Buffalo Fusion, and there is a ball hockey sector. And within each of those divisions, there are, different levels of teams. So I had that, we just celebrated our 11th year actually as Buffalo Fusion, and I probably should know these numbers, but countless tournament victories and countless teams. I couldn't even begin to tell you. There's just so many of them. So I'm really proud of that. And so being in the Northeast and being relevant in the sport of ball hockey, you form relationships over those time periods, and people start getting to know you, and they take you seriously as a hockey person, then they start taking you seriously as a human being, and then things just kind of come together after that. I suppose.
Oh, definitely impressive. And thank you guys again for joining us. But right now, with the big announcement last week of the introduction, I'll call it that, of USA Ball Hockey as an organization, can you tell us a little bit about what is going into that? What's the high level goal, and kind of what's the idea behind the creation?
Yeah, the genesis of USA Ball Hockey was in the past. Ball hockey's been around a long time. There is an organization, for those that don't know what it is, it's the ISBHF, or the International Street and Ball Hockey Federation. They're located, they're based in the Czech Republic, but they are the international body, very similar to like the IIHF in ice hockey. And they're the governing body of the sport in the world, and each nation has a representative group from their nation that goes and competes in world championships, men's and women's, and then juniors, boys and girls, and then a master's program for people 35 and older, 40 and older for men, 35 and older for women. And they compete every 2 years for world championships. So in the past, there have been a couple organizations that have entered national teams from the U.S. and never really had much success. There was a gold medal won by a junior U20 team back in 2006, but after that, nothing, or never really relevant, either on the men's or women's side. In 2013, I was asked by a previous organization that was the governing body of the sport in the United States, and no longer is now that we are, if I would put together some national teams, and we did, and Alessandra was part of that, and many people were part of that, and we had some success. We had several silver medals by women's program, and we had a couple of bronze medals by our juniors programs. We had lost in double overtime in the men's world championship in 2015 in Switzerland. So we were really getting on the stage there. So as it turned out, things happen over a period of years, and I know that and Alessandra and everybody else on our board and below agree that there's so much more to the sport than just the national team. So look, the national teams are great. Everybody loves to cheer for Team USA. That's very fun. And, now that they have the technology to be able to stream the games, you can have playing on your big screen TV. The Euros do, and even the Canadians, they do a tremendous job with the presentation of the event, in terms of, camera angles, in terms of venue, sure. Stuff outside of the hockey. They do a really great job at that. But there's so much more to the sport. And the sport is really about the roots. So the reason that this group got together and decided, hey, we got to really make a change here in the United States, because there's really no governing body that provides a common rule book, that provides referee certification, that provides coaching certification. Sure, they go to the national teams, and that's great. Every 2 years, you go pick a team, and you go over there and you play. But where do all those players come from? And where they come from is the youth sector.
Sure.
So when we decided to get together, we're talking about a year ago now, when I was first approached by Corey Hirsch to for a group of us that had the same common goals in mind to form a new organization, this one learning lessons from the past, because the past organizations, I'm not saying that anything was bad. There was a lot of good done, but what they lacked, and what we're trying to learn the lesson from, is that they lacked the vision and or the resources to be to take the sport where it hasn't gone before. And to simplify that for you, not that we're making a carbon copy of them, but we really would. Our primary goal is to emulate what USA Hockey does, and what they provide. And if you see historically the numbers that USA Hockey has it's grown every single year for the past 30 years with never a dip, and it's because USA Hockey does a really nice job. They have their national teams that we get to watch on the Olympics and World Championships and whatnot, but they do it at the youth level, and that's where it's important, because that's where they get all these players from. You get the players to have something to shoot for.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Well, so that was the genesis of USA Ball Hockey.
No, that's awesome. And, if you look at, just using that USA Hockey model, they have try the game for free across the country, where kids can go out to the rink, put skates on, and really, get a stick in their hand and fall in love. They have the One Goal program that's all about building that youth and provide the equipment. So that's absolutely amazing. Obviously, we're huge hockey fans here, so we're kind of in tune with what USA Hockey's doing, and watch those Olympic teams, but also watch the international teams. But hey, since we talked about it and kind of use this as a segue, the youth movement is huge. We had talked about it in the intro. Regardless of where it is today or where we need it to go, if any sport or anything's going to grow, it has to start with the kids.
Well, it's the most important thing to pipelining. I mean, if we're going to build to be a competitor on the national stage, you can't do it unless you get kids in early and
develop the talent.
Yeah. So, how do you guys feel about that? Both men's and women's development from the youth up, and what are some of the things you guys are doing, and talk about the importance of the youth programs.
Well, I'll start with the boys' side of things. The one of the more appealing parts of the sport is the affordability of it. Okay, so for everybody that has ever been involved in ice hockey, that's ever paid the bill, knows how expensive ice hockey is, and starting from mites down at 6 and 7 years old, it's very expensive, and that's not for every family. Let's face it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have a son in travel hockey, and he's a goalie, and this is an expensive sport. And we know that not everybody can afford that, but there's very few that can't afford ball hockey. So we're not necessarily trying to convert ice hockey players into ball hockey players. That's not really the goal. Mm-hmm. The goal is to give kids a chance to play hockey and have it affordable, because if we're learning anything about youth sports nowadays, is that everything is turning into this massive money grab. Mm-hmm. And I have a friend that has a kid in he's a high-end player, soccer player, and they're in around $10,000 for the year. Who can do that? And the worst part is, and Hope Solo said this about it last year when they were talking about why the U.S. didn't make the
Team USA women goaltender.
Yeah, she said it's all of your fault. You turned this into a rich kid sport.
Yeah.
So a kid, because I asked my friend, I'm like, well, why don't you just have them play down, and pay half? He's like, they won't even let you. They won't even allow it. Once the kid gets good, or he just stops playing. He goes plays another sport. So for ball hockey, it's super inexpensive. Everybody can do it, boys and girls alike. Mm-hmm. And they find their own way. At some point. And you said it earlier in the beginning. When they pick up the stick, hard to get them to pick up the stick, but when they do, they don't put it down. Right?
Absolutely.
And Alessandra, you're much. You're much better person to ask about the women.
Well, I was going to say to Alessandra as well, is that a lot of, I think parents or a lot of kids are starting to do that high level focus at a young age, where you're now a soccer player, or you're now a hockey player, you're now a basketball player, and that's what we do
all year round.
Spring, summer, winter, like it doesn't matter. You're going around the clock. And I mean, as far as somebody that I know played some soccer, I'm not sure how high of a level, but I mean, I was a multi-sport athlete. I think that is one of the most important things that you can do, that even if you don't end up taking ball hockey and playing, you know, at such a high level, it's still a very important to diversify as far as being an athlete goes. So Alessandra, I was hoping you could maybe shed a little more light on kind of your background in that area.
Yeah, definitely. So as I mentioned before, I started out with soccer. But the beauty about our sport too is it's a huge advantage. Is you don't have to know how to skate, right? So it's a great crossover sport for soccer, for field hockey, you know, softball, any of the sports, because you don't have to know how to skate. And like Chris had mentioned, anyone can play. I mean, it can be, you know, a little kid, and it can be a grandma. Like, literally anyone can play it, which is awesome because, you know, it makes it so accessible for anyone. And just like being part of the women's game, I think my biggest concern over the past, you know, 10 plus years was going to all these events and going to all these tournaments. You know, as we've talked about, I call it experience because I don't want to call myself too old in the sport yet, but just seeing the same faces all the time, which was a concern because that means that, you know, we're not bringing in any new players. So at that time, that was very concerning to me because there was no growth in the sport. And since that time, it's kind of been one of my missions is just to get people to come play. You know, do you want to try it out? You know, come play. And I feel like once people become part of the community, once they try it, you get hooked. And that's the great thing, especially on the youth level, is I can tell you I was a shy kid. And probably anyone that has met me since maybe doesn't think that, but because of sport, I learned to develop into the person that I am, right? Because of team play, and that's a huge thing. Is you go through all those kind of like life lessons through sports. So sport is, you know, invaluable, right? As far as kind of learning who you are, learning how to go through conflict. So, you know, we always want to win the game, but we don't always win the game, but that's okay.
Success
learning
and
how to
failure.
do things as a team. And so there's so many lessons that, you know, can be had. And I know, like, for me, it really kind of helped me kind of become the person that I am and kind of made me feel empowered as a woman. And I think that that's super important for our kids nowadays, especially our young girls, is, you know, to have them find something. And for me, it was ball hockey, and I know for a lot of people I've met since, they've shared the same sentiments. You know, they've gotten so much more from the sport, and the sport gives back tenfold. So, I mean, and I encourage everyone, just try it, and it's almost guaranteed that you'll come back. So it's awesome. It's been a great experience, and I've met so many great people because of it, and I just want to try to give that to as many kids as possible. Like you said, too, I've had great coaches that have helped me along the way, so many great coaches. Actually, my goalie coach for Team USA was my goalie coach when I was 14 years old, and and just, you know, saw something in me and just helped me progress. And I'm hoping that, you know, being part of USA Ball Hockey, I'll be able to do that and share some of those fun times, and hopefully people, you know, get something more than just playing a sport together. They get so much more from it. So
absolutely. And I think one of the things, kind of how I look at it, and I was reading an article last week on this, but it's how playing being a multi-sport athlete really increases your skill set. If you're playing basketball one season and then baseball or then ball hockey in the summer, that your hand-eye coordination, your footwork, your explosiveness, your quickness, because of the dynamics of those games,
makes you more well-rounded.
Exactly.
Probably.
You become a more well-rounded athlete, not just a hockey-specific player or a basketball-specific player. You become that elite-level athlete that can tackle
and you're not going to get burned out either. If you're focusing and driving home one thing over and over and over and over, maybe by the time you even get to high school or, you know, get into your adult years, you're so tired of it that you're ready to be done. But I was hoping maybe you guys could shed a little bit of light on maybe some of the methods that you guys are using. I know you said that you were kind of echoing some of the USA Hockey things, but what are you guys doing, and what's the strategy towards reaching as many young kids as you can and bringing them into the sport?
Well, currently, again, we're newly formed, but what we've done, we're still in the process of setting a lot of protocols. It's important to get those done right now, and instead of having to change them down the road. But we have done a lot of reaching out to local rinks and rink owners and things like that, just to see, what kind of appetite there is. Because, right now the epicenter, at least in the Northeast anyway, of Pittsburgh, Boston, Jersey / Philly, those are fruitful regions in terms of youth. And, and we'll do what we can to make those even better. But what we really want to do is get into the regions that don't really have a lot going on. If anything, maybe going to this is something that an initiative that Corey Hirsch has been working on, and others. YMCA's typically have like they call them street hockey leagues, small street hockey leagues. Those are kind of easy targets, for lack of a better term, because those are already organized leagues. So, hey, how cool would it be? Here, imagine yourself as a 9-year-old kid, and you're out there in the gym at the YMCA, and two big 6'4" chiseled guys walk in with USA jerseys on and start teaching how to play hockey. How excited are you?
I mean, I think that's one of the other things too, is just injecting people who are notable in the community and bringing that level of respect that,
and recognition.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the same with the, to add on to what Alessandra was talking about before with the girls program, one of the challenges is once they hit a certain age, they can't really play with the boys anymore. Boys, it's, for several reasons. And so they have to kind of get together, and they need strong leadership. And they need people like Alessandra and Karen Levin and girls all over the country that are deeply involved in the sport to say, hey, there's life after 10-year-old hockey with the other boys, or there's hockey life after you're done playing ice hockey as a college athlete. And there's a lot of Alessandra will tell you, after college athlete, that's about it.
Sure.
That's it. And so now what do I do? After
I
that,
think exactly. And the big thing is you still have that competitiveness in you, right? After college, you still want to compete. It's kind of a shock to the system, and you miss that team atmosphere. And that's a lot of girls that have played on Team USA have found that, again, that competitiveness and training for a purpose and things like that. But just to echo what Chris said, is I know personally I've done a lot of clinics. Generally, we've done them for boys and girls, and we've gone into YMCA's and places that don't even have any street hockey or ball hockey, and shown the kids this is how you hold a stick and this is how you play, and progress them to drills and then progress them to scrimmages. And I think just like you said, like seeing someone that has played at an elite level, you can kind of say, well, if she can do it, then I can do it. You know what I mean? And it's someone that's right there in person with you that, is willing to take the time to teach you, and then you start slowly learning. I mean, it's been great. So I think, as we start to progress with our protocols and things like that, that's definitely something that we want to do, especially to the areas, like Chris said, that don't currently have ball hockey or street hockey or don't really even know what the sport is. Because once you get exposed to it, it's people can start doing pickups, and then from there, might lead to a small league, and then from there it could get bigger. So I'm excited to see the youth movement and just what we can do with that. I mean, that's part of the big reason that I was very intrigued with being part of USA Ball Hockey, because honestly, it hasn't been done in the U.S., which it's time,
Absolutely.
There's a right time. It's now. So I'm really excited what will happen in the future over the next year, 3 years, 5 years. It's super exciting time in ball hockey.
Guys, I want to give you an example, and I'm going to make Alessandra blush here. She doesn't. I've never told her this,
All right.
by the way. Probably 4 years ago, I'm at a youth tournament up in Boston, and this is to jump off that story or that scenario I laid out before about being in a YMCA and seeing a USA player walk through the door with his hockey stick in his hand.
Right.
So about 4 years ago, I'm up at a tournament in Boston. It was in Winchendon, Massachusetts, actually, and there's kids everywhere. I mean, there's this massive tournament going on. And Alessandra was there with her husband, and she's walking around, and she had her USA gear on. And behind her, I was talking to somebody else. I was probably 20 feet away from them. But behind her, there were two little girls. They're probably 10 years old, 11 years old, maybe 12. And they were watching Alessandra, like, walk by them. And as soon as Alessandra walks by them, they looked at each other, and the one girl said, "That was Alessandra," and they were like shaking their hands around and everything, like they were at an NSYNC show. I'm not kidding you. I'm serious, dude. It's that powerful. Just her walking by.
That's phenomenal.
Like, and these girls, I don't even know if these girls even knew who she, or I don't even know if Alessandra even knew who these girls were. But they were so excited to see her. Moments like that are so powerful, and you think that only happens in the NHL or the NFL or something like that. No way. I see what kids. There's a player by the name of Denny Schlegel from Buffalo area, one of the top. Some would argue he's the best player ever come out of the United States. But he's certainly top 3. There's no question. And he was at that tournament as well. And there were kids walking up to him with their helmets. "Can I have an autograph?" And he's like, "What?" I work at a shipping dock.
That's awesome.
Unbelievable.
It's powerful, man. It's powerful stuff.
Well, not all heroes wear capes, but it certainly helps to have people who are, I guess, addicted to the game, and notable people who have a ridiculous amount of passion. But you did mention that once you're past that age of college hockey or high school hockey or whatever, you're still yearning for that competition, and there's not really a direction to go. But there is. There's international play. So that's what I want to talk about next. So in an ideal world where we've finally built ourselves a nice roster of young talent, what does it look like for some overseas play, and what can people expect from the various teams that are going to be representing USA?
You're referring to 2019?
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's Slovakia, the dates, Shackelford?
The 14th through the 22nd of June.
Yeah.
Koshika, I believe is how it's pronounced.
I'm not
Slovakia.
exactly a world traveler, but I was hoping you guys could give everybody kind of a look behind the curtain on what's to be expected for some of the top level stuff. That's our favorite anyway.
Okay, well, I mentioned this earlier about the ISBHF and what a show that they put on. They're always these World Championships are always in really great venues. The Eastern Europeans in particular just really, really, really know how to do it. They have been doing this a long, long time. They're very, very good at it. What you see, it kind of looks like an Olympic Village when you walk up to the place. You're just seeing players from all over, all different countries and whatnot. It's very, very, very exciting. The place that the teams are going to this year is a city called Košice, and it is in eastern Slovakia, close to the border of the Ukraine. So it's a little remote, but but the city itself is considered one of the jewels of Europe. And I've been over to Europe several times. Eastern, I know Alessandra's been over there several times. It's just awesome over there. I absolutely love it. And what you'll do is you'll be interacting with people from all over the world. A lot of people know each other. They're multiple champions, and it's just a really, really great atmosphere. Fans come to the stands. I mean, geez, that one 2015 in Switzerland, we had something like 11,000 fans in for a round robin game. So Swiss versus Canada, and the atmosphere is electric. The whole week, it's actually like 2 weeks long. But, the whole couple of weeks, is just an incredible experience. In terms of the teams, I fully expect the women to be competing for gold, no question about it. I expect the men too, but the women, the men won the silver medal in 2015. Although they only lost one game in 2017 and finished fifth. I expect them to make a pretty heavy run at the gold medal as well. So I think that we'll have some pretty good success over there. Sandra, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we've been to Slovakia a couple times. So we were there a few years back. I think it was 2013, I believe. We were in Bratislava, and it was amazing. So I can't wait to go to Kosice and see the people. I mean, it's a crazy atmosphere. I think it's hard to explain. The whole town is really at all these games, you know, and the Europeans are very, very passionate about ball hockey in general. So their fans just travel to go see these teams. It's a wild experience. I know a couple of times there's been broadcasts in pubs of the games, you know, being played live for people to watch while they're having their lunch in the pub, and it's pretty awesome and wild. And as far as the women's team, I mean, we're excited. We want that gold, obviously. Coming off the silver in 2017, it was a great battle with the Czechs. And, you know, this time we're going to be in Slovakia, and we know that the competition is going to be really tough there. So we're definitely looking forward to it. But I can tell you right now, our coaching staff and our players are the best in the United States. And we love the challenge. You know, we'd love to be able to show what we can do. And all the girls have been really working hard for quite some time, you know, training. And it's a lot of work because we all do this on the side, right? It's a sport that we love to be a part of. And yeah, we're super excited to go and compete and show the world what we can do. So I'm excited.
Were you guys able to see the piece that the NHL Network did the other day on us?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Definitely saw it.
We've had them on our show as well. So it's good to see. It's good to see NHL Network riding our coattails.
And those that have missed it, you know, go on NHL.com and go into the archive there and check out the piece they did on USA Ball Hockey. And we had a couple of the players for our men's team, Bob Hauser and Johnny Ruiz, a couple of superstars here in America. They represented us very well, and NHL Network did a nice little piece on the upcoming games and talked a little bit about the history of the sport, and they did a great job. So this is a big year. This is a very big year. It's a banner year, you know, because it's our inaugural year.
Well, it's great exposure either way. I know the men have a couple tryout camps coming up.
Sure.
I think beginning in April. The women's team, Alessandra, it sounds like it's pretty well locked in. Is that accurate?
Oh yeah, yep. We have our team. We have actually a camp coming up next weekend, prior to the North American tournament, and yep, we have a couple more camps coming up. But yeah, we've been ready and we've been training for this, so we're super excited. Yeah.
We can't wait. That's for sure. You're too modest, Sandra.
I know,
you're
right?
too modest. You need to start pumping your team a little more. We think you guys are probably the best look that we've got at getting a USA gold medal there. So don't let her modesty fool you guys.
I mean, when you get there, that's why they play the games, right? I think we all have something that we want to prove, men's and women's side, especially this year. So it's a big year, especially like Chris said, it's our inaugural year, and I'm hoping to represent USA Ball Hockey, you know, not just as a board member, but also as a player. So I'm super excited to go. And, yeah, I mean, men's and women's, you know, we're going to put our best effort out there and, you know, looking for the support at home as always. I mean, everyone's been awesome about, you know, messaging and encouragement and things like that. So I know the men, you know, they're going to be training their butts off, too, to be ready. And Bobby and Johnny did a great little preview on the NHL Network, as Chris mentioned. But it's awesome. It's an awesome experience, and we're ready to take on the best in the world. I mean, period. We're ready. So
I love it.
Yeah, we're definitely excited for it. We'll be watching here back in Iowa, and as will everybody else. Definitely covering that event. So final question talking about Team USA, and this is just kind of me asking out of curiosity. But we're talking playing international tournaments every 2 years. Is there a goal maybe to play every 4?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yes. Yeah. The ISBHF, they do so much for the sport that never even gets seen. The exposure that they create in Africa and in Southeast Asia, which barely gets any press because it's all in its infancy. But they do so much. But one of the things, and one of their primary goals, is to become an Olympic sport. This is a very tall task. I got to tell you, before I was ever involved in any of this, I kind of had the attitude where it was like, yeah, got a bunch of teams, just put a bid in. Once I learned what actually goes into that, I went, whoa, oh boy. So you'd be surprised. So people laugh at archery and handball and things like that, and they call them silly sports. It's hard. Let me tell you, folks. And anybody ever wants to know the process, call me, or send me an email or something.
Maybe for another episode.
Long, difficult process to get to be an Olympic sport, to be taken seriously enough. Right? There's so much that goes in it. So yeah, I mean. From compliance to amount of nations, it takes so much, but they're on their way, and we're going to get there. We're going to get there. It's one of the main reasons I do this, because I want to be part of America that was part of getting the sport to be an Olympic sport, because I want to say that I played an Olympic sport one day, right? And maybe my son will be able to do that. Who knows? So. Yeah, the answer, that was a long answer, but that's a long yes, but yes.
I love
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, and just to echo what Chris said, I mean, it's a long process, but I think, it's in our mind, right? And now's the time. Again, everything has to start at some point, and I think just being able to be a part of this and being able to have USA Ball Hockey and be able to start those first steps, right, it is a big task. But it's something that we're totally looking forward to, and that starts with the youth movement, and then it goes into, certifying coaches and certifying refs, and it's just a bigger picture. It's not just about the play, but it's about the whole organization across the United States, and that's something that we're, looking at, and something that we would like to be a part of to represent the U.S. in the sport, and then have the ISBHF take that.
Yeah, and because that's one thing that's absolutely imperative for the sport to ever be considered, is for America to be the lead nation, the one that goes there and knocks on the IOC's door, and we're not there. They're the Czechs and the Slovaks and the Canadians. They have the Swiss. They have better organizations than we've ever had, and that's what we're trying to change now with USA Ball Hockey. We need to be the leaders. Because let's face it, this is where America's where the money is. America's where the viewers are.
Absolutely.
As great as and although there's not a single Slovak executive that would say we need the U.S. to be better in public, in private, they know that just to hey, fine, we won a few world championships in ball hockey. That means nothing. That's not going to help us. We need the USA to win. We need the USA to win world championships. You guys are familiar with Joseph Stumpel, ex-NHL player?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he runs the Slovak organization, and he has said that to me many times. That hey, look we need the USA to be more relevant. So whatever you guys are doing, you're going to have to ramp it up, or we're never going to get a shot at this Olympic thing. And when it comes to the Olympic thing, I know there's going to be a lot of naysayers out there that are shaking their head. Never happened. But like Alessandra said, it has to start someplace. And I can tell you this: 5 years ago, we weren't even the sport wasn't even remotely even blinked at by the IOC. But they know who we are now 5 years later, and that's something. That's better than nothing. The ISBHF has had a lot of talks with the IHF, looking for their endorsement. ISBHF and the IHF have a great relationship right now. It's on its way, so I don't know when it's going to be, but I'm going to be one of the people that helps it get there. I know that. That's one of my goals anyway, personally.
Well, absolutely. And I mean, every skyscraper that's built starts with a shovel going in the ground first.
Yep.
So it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen overnight, but having the right
Mm-hmm.
team and the right passion behind it
Yeah.
and getting everything started is one of the keys, at least in my opinion. So,
USA leads the way, baby. I love it.
absolutely. So definitely appreciate everything that you are taking on and doing on a volunteer level to help grow this sport. That's absolutely amazing. But as we wrap it up here, kind of had one. I don't know, I'm going to call it a softball question. And I think we've covered a lot of it. But what gets you excited in the morning when you wake up about USA ball hockey and kind of where we are and obviously what we just talked about, where we're going to go?
Oh, boy, that's a good question. What? I'm the president of the organization, so there's like 40 things.
We're spot, yeah.
That I think about every day, every morning. The most exciting, this is actually a very easy answer. The most exciting thing is the youth stuff. 'Cause, and anybody that's got a kid or kids would tell you that there is nothing that they'd rather do than watch their kid play sports. Or dance, with respect for dancing and the non-sporting activities, but just watching the kids, especially new youth, like when we put a youth program together, or just a clinic, just a 1-day, 2-hour thing, and all these little kids, they show up with their sticks and they got their little uniforms on, and they're all ready to go. None of them know what they're doing. They're falling all over each other. That stuff that does it for me.
No, I love
Me
it.
being knowing that I'm going to see a lot of that. That's what gets me up in the morning. Absolutely.
Sandra, you're too modest, but let's hear a final thought from you.
No, I mean, it's the same thing. So, when I was a kid, I was a diehard. I loved to play so much. And now that I'm getting older, it's just kind of, you reevaluate your career and, and what's important to me. And so lately, over the past few years, I've definitely realized is sharing my passion for the sport and sharing that with the kids. It's definitely sparked my love of the game. Even more than I thought that I was passionate for it. So definitely the youth movement, and for me, especially seeing those kids, and especially those girls, have opportunities. Back in the day, it wasn't like that. Back in the day, it was very hard, and there weren't a lot of opportunities for the girls and for the women. And just being one of the people that can help bring those opportunities about, and see these little kids kind of transition and go from youth sports and now seeing these women play that we've kind of seen grow up. It's super special. So just that definitely is something that has definitely revived my passion for the sport, and something we're always looking for is opportunities to help grow the game. So I'm really excited about the future and what it's going to hold, and hopefully meeting a ton of little girls that want to play. Definitely.
Absolutely. Well, they're out there, and we absolutely love your guys' passion. We love everything you guys are doing. I think the future looks brighter and brighter every single day, even if it's baby steps. We've got our eyes on the prize. But I mean, I can't get enough of you guys right now. We do appreciate you guys coming on. It's been one of the most engaging conversations I think that we've had in quite some time.
Definitely.
But so to wrap her up here, I mean, we wish you guys nothing but the best of luck. I think you've got the support of the entire community. Before we close out, Shackelford, big announcements. What's the agenda hold for us here today?
Well,
for the rest of this season.
For the rest of this season, we're actually going to make a transfer of platforms from our media, how we present this information, and how we kind of communicate our news of ball hockey to the world. We are launching www.deckhockeyfocus.com, which will then house all video. That's going to be a growing kind of endeavor all year long, but our goal there is to centralize information communication and anything media related regarding the game onto one location, so everybody can go there and then either navigate our materials or find what they're looking for.
It's got our partners on there. It's got everything you guys are going to want. We're not officially live. I think maybe by the time this episode comes out, we will be live. But you guys, it's slick. We've put a lot of time and effort, and Sean has sat bloodied over a keyboard to make this thing perfect. So I hope everybody appreciates it. But deckhockeyfocus.com, that's got to be your new homepage. You're going to love it. We're growing every day. We're going to keep on covering big level tournaments. We're going to keep on bringing notable guests, anybody that's passionate about the sport who wants to take it to the next level. That's our main goal. So stay tuned. We're taking it to the next level.
All right. Thank you all.